Hi, this is Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. I am out here in the middle of a field with Emily, Executive Director with Feed Iowa First. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and thanks for coming.
And we're excited. I'm so excited to be here. We were here back in May doing some of the plantings, so we'll talk about that. But we are going to talk today with Emily about the impact that Feed Iowa First has in our Linn County area and in Iowa in general, and maybe how you can get involved. Maybe you've already been involved. So I'm going to just turn it over to you and ask you to introduce what is Feed Iowa First for those people that maybe haven't heard of it, or they have and they don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a nonprofit in Cedar Rapids, and our main goal is to get local nutrient-dense food into underserved communities. And so we just always say we grow food and we grow farmers. And so we have two main programs. One is we produce for Linn County food pantries. We have our own distribution system, so we're going into apartment complexes and 24-hour access community fridges and health clinics now.
Oh, wow.
And making sure that all communities within Cedar Rapids have access to free produce. We do not charge anything for those services. But we also have a farming program. And so we take emerging farmers. Typically, those are farmers who have farmed in other countries and they have immigrated in. They have that skill set. That was their profession. But it's very difficult to find Iowa land to farm on, especially land with water access. And so we lease land and we help these farmers get started with their LLCs, quarterly taxes, and how to grow here and where to market.
Nice. So last time I was here in this specific location was back in early May. So probably hundreds of you out there what was the number on that day? Do you remember?
We had 76 here, but I believe they do 500 or 600, maybe even more.
That's amazing.
Across the city. Yeah.
That's amazing. So the Day of Caring through United Way, right, is one day in May where companies, and I'm an employee of a company that is a sponsor for that. We came out here and we did some plantings. Yeah. And now behind us is the fruit of some of that. Probably not ready to harvest yet. When is harvest?
So we start harvesting in June, but it depends. A lot of these are our equitable land access fields. And so a lot of what you're seeing behind us are what we call hot weather plants. So they originate from Africa or South and Central America. And so with our climate, they typically don't come into production until late July, August, September, and until the frost.
Okay. And of course, it depends on what it is, because if you're at the farmer's market, you're seeing some vegetables now, but some aren't ready yet.
Yep. And everything is very late this year because of the drought. We're in our worst drought of 23 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I know there's a drought, but really? Oh my gosh.
It's critical. Yeah.
Yikes. So what do you do about that?
So we are very fortunate here. I guess to back up, this is a joint project with County Conservation.
Okay.
County Conservation had bought 17 acres for a trail extension. So the trail will just cut off on the northwest side. Yeah. They didn't really know what they would do with the rest of the land. And so we started discussions. And our big thing is longevity. So we have 12 fields in Cedar Rapids in the urban corridor. And those fields are typically teeny tiny and they're year-to-year leases. So we can't plant perennials because we don't know if we'll be there next year. And so we did a 20-year land lease. It's called a unique farm lease here, which is usually farm leases are 3 to 5 years. Okay. And by doing so, that afforded us to be able to put in an agricultural well. Now this well this is going to geek out.
Let's do it. Geek out.
Let's do it. This well is 3 horsepower. We can upgrade to 5, and it will irrigate all 11 acres of the field. We have 6 acres of woodlands, which we don't need to irrigate. We put in, right now we have 7 hydrants. We'll be going to 9 at the end of the fall. We just received funding. And that well system guarantees that in times of drought like we're having this summer, and even during our dry periods, during a normal year, that vegetable production can continue.
Nice. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes, yeah, it was a big project. There's not a lot of agricultural wells around here. So we worked with Rodale. They have one, the Rodale Institute, and worked with the well driller who did theirs, and really kind of walked through, what does this need?
Very cool. So when we were here planting in May, you talked about, I think more about like the different foods and the where that you are harvesting and impacting like the local community. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, state your question again. Friday. I'm gonna grab some. Okay,
you had mentioned like that you're really customizing what you're bringing and where, and you're even like if people don't like eggplant, you're saying, okay, I won't bring you egg. You talked about that last time.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the specifics, but
yeah, absolutely. So we do 20 distribution sites a week, and like I said, those are pantries, health clinics, apartment complexes, community fridges. And we're very unique in the sense of we don't box anything. So we know if food is boxed, it's really easy on the organization because you can just put together a bunch of boxes with different foods, but we know a lot of that goes to waste, right? You may get a box of vegetables, and in that box there will be some things you may not know how to use, you may not be able to eat because maybe you don't, I talked to a woman this week who stopped by who did not have a functional stove or oven.
Oh,
so she's not going to get, winter squash or certain things that you have to cook. And then we just really get to know these communities. Our goal is consistency. So we want to see the same families every week because we know that's where we start to move the needle in health equity, right? If you're only getting vegetables once a month or once every 2 weeks, it's not doing anything really health-wise. And so we just get to know these communities, right? So we know that one of our stops is primarily elderly white individuals, and they're going to want really big, they grew up in Iowa and they want big slicer tomatoes and they want cucumbers and they hate eggplant, right?
See, I remember they hate eggplant.
And then if we go to the west side of Cedar Rapids, where we really see a growing immigrant community, and a lot of them, these communities are from Africa. Really hot peppers. So we're talking habanero and ghost peppers and cayenne peppers, not just a couple by the hundreds.
Oh my gosh.
We can move 50 pounds of habaneros
in
an afternoon if we need to. Very bitter greens, so a lot of Indian greens, a lot of collards, just kind of those thicker, more bitter greens that, and kale would never move there in a heartbeat. And by doing so, one, we get to know those communities, and a lot of times we just ask. There's a lot of language barriers. But a lot of times we just have our cell phone and we just flip through like pictures of vegetables. Right? Is it this eggplant? Is it this eggplant? Until we get a thumbs up, and then we try to put that into our rotation for the next year. So we are really looking at food gaps in our community and what can we do to grow to fill those gaps.
So sounds like you guys deliver all of these to these different places. Do you also have a pickup, or is it kind of depends on the need of the...
It depends on the need of the pantry. Yep. So sometimes with our pantries, if they have enough volunteers, they'll pick up from us, and we kind of know their order, and they report back every week. This is moving, this is not. Yellow squash is not our community's jam. But those conversations are very critical to making sure we're getting the right food in the right places. So it's really interesting when you look at our food pantry system. We measure everything by pounds, but we don't have a measure of how much is going to waste.
Because once it leaves your care, you don't know unless they're telling you.
And so we have that feedback system, and so when they bring back those crates, if they have any produce left over, which is very, very rare, that produce is coming back. And so we have a really good gauge of where is our produce going? Is it getting into houses? And the other thing is, because we're local, we're moving field to family in 72 hours.
That's
where
awesome.
a lot of times food that's coming into
we're outside.
Food that is coming into food pantries, it's left over from the grocery store. And we don't want that to go to waste, so it's donated, and that's a great system. But sometimes by the time it goes from store to food reservoir to pantry to end user, it's beyond what is usable, but it's also lost a lot of its nutrient density. So every moment a plant is, a fruit is off its plant, it starts to lose that nutrient density. And that's one thing that's really critical for health equity, right? We want the fruit fresh, we want it to move field to family very, very quickly.
This is amazing, because when you think about someone who would be in need of your services, it's very difficult to purchase healthy foods because they're more expensive. The cheaper stuff is the less nutritious stuff. It's highly processed, it's full of sodium, full of a bunch of other crap. So this is just outstanding that you are making this available. So if someone is not familiar with the Day of Caring, you could get in touch with United Way. You could ask your human resources department in your company if this is something that you guys could participate in. Like you said, hundreds of volunteers come out throughout, more than just Day of Caring, probably throughout the whole season, right? And they're helping you do a variety of things. So you could get in touch with feediowafirst on your website.
Yeah.
Or how else could somebody who wanted to help, wanted to make an impact on the community, how else, if not through their company, could they help?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, well, if you want to do company, we also just do corporate days. We can take groups up to 50.
Oh, okay.
And so we have, for companies who can't make United Way, Day of Caring, or are working on other projects, we have them rotate in throughout the whole summer. We usually do a group every one to 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we have individuals who come out on their own. If you are not into field work and getting dirty, we have opportunities to go out on our community distribution. So you can go out, we set up farmers market style, and that's probably one of my favorite. You get to just know the community and see different sides of the city, and just really see where the produce is going. Yeah. And then just Monday nights, 4 to 6, we have open shop hours. So you can come in for 20 minutes, and that's where we really wash and do all the production. So every piece, we are GAP certified, which is Good Agricultural Practices. Okay. And that's a food safety certification. So that means that we are checking fields for animal feces. We're training all of our staff on bloodborne pathogens. We get cut a lot because we're in farming, but how do you make sure that does not transfer to fruits and vegetables, and then making sure that how we wash and sanitize everything in the shop is compliant. And there's actually only 2 of us in Linn County that are GAP certified, us and Buffalo Ridge Orchard. Oh, sweet. So yeah. So where is this thing on Monday nights? It's at our main shop. We're on the back side of Cargill, behind Metro High School. Oh, okay. Yeah. And yeah, that's where we have these big wash tubs. Okay. We use a triple dunk system, which is a USDA certification system. And just like it sounds, you fill up these 3 big tanks and you dunk and then dunk and dunk. Okay. And then we crate everything and we label it and we get it ready to go out on distribution that week. Nice. This is so exciting. It's so beautiful out here. If you haven't been out here, we're on the southeast side of Cedar Rapids. Now, how many, this is just one of many, how many physical locations do you have in, is it Linn County or Iowa that you're just growing stuff? Yeah. Despite the name, we are very centric to Linn County and Cedar Rapids Metro. This is by far our largest site. So this has been just a massive growth and jump in both production and programming for us. We were really excited. This is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully we'll pick up more land like this. But we have 12 sites in town, and they range from churches to ADM processing. Right. Yeah. Which is really cool because you drive through ADM, you drive through their smokestacks and their processing facility, and there's this just adorable little organic garden. My husband, I think, helped either start that or or maintain it, because I think one of the kids did an Eagle Scout project to help do something with that area. Yeah. So, very cool. And so for our Day of Caring at Transamerica, we have a little garden. Out at C Street campus. So this is Feed Iowa First. If you've seen that garden out in the back of Transamerica, that's what it is. Yep. And you guys are doing squash this year and zucchini. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And then we have for equitable land access. So that's this side of the field, right? This is where we're working with farmers. We have 2 programs. We have 5 farmers out here, and then we also have fields at the Resiliency Hub at the old Fillmore site over by Roosevelt. Okay. We have multiple churches that have just had gardens they no longer use, and so we work with private individuals and organizations. If people have extra land or garden space with water access, we team you up with a farmer. We do all the land contracts and land use agreements. We help till and help get seeds and everything for those farmers too. So yeah, we're just kind of scattered all around. Very much if land comes available, we try to grab it, because between us and there's another program, Together We March Forward with Mugisha. They also work with farmers. We have about 30 on our wait list. Oh wow. That are looking for any amount of land, even if it's 20 by 20. Wow. So that's how critical land access is here in Linn County. Which seems surprising because we're so look at large. This is such it's not like we're in Chicago where you're landlocked and there's nowhere to grow, but there's still
a challenge there on getting what you need.
Yeah, right. And a lot with Iowa land is you get land if you know someone. So,
yeah,
you know,
like anything.
Yep. Yeah,
like
exactly.
anything.
Right. And land here right now is about $11,000 to $12,000 an acre for like naked farmland, no water, no electricity. I just want to, you know,
just go stand in the middle of a field.
Yeah. And then rent is about $300. So we're at a rent high for farmland right now, which is another barrier for farmers getting started. And most of that land that is coming up for rent does not have water access.
Sure.
And so it's made for corn and soybean and cattle rotations. You know, it's just a different farming system that we haven't seen here in almost 100 years.
Oh, wow.
And so we're kind of going back to what you see behind us is really kind of back to Iowa roots, right?
Okay. Yeah.
These very diverse growing systems that have, you know, a lot of different things. In the early 1900s, Iowa had more than 100 staple crops.
Wow.
And now we have 2.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So it's been really interesting just to look at the history of agriculture and like how it's shifted.
Wow. Maybe we could do another podcast about that.
We could. Yeah. Yeah. That one may not be so upbeat. Yeah.
That would be definitely like we're geeking out.
Yeah.
And this is not my background, so I'm learning everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone doesn't want to come out and get dirty, but they do want to make an impact, can they just donate to Feed Iowa First?
Yes, of course. You can go to our website and drop us money, and
you'll take the
we
money.
are very, very appreciative. Yep, like any nonprofit, you know, we can only expand our programs and stabilize our programs with the funding that we have available. So yes, we always take donations of any type. So.
Okay. Well, Giasitaliankitchen is definitely a donor. So if you are able or willing, they could use your money and they would use it in a million different ways. So, tell us 1 or 2 things that we haven't talked about yet today that you want the folks of Lynn County and Iowa to know about Feed Iowa First and the program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I think the big thing is buying locally. And Iowa, we now import 90% of our food.
Really?
Yes.
So, wow.
To put we'll geek out again. To put it into perspective, we have 23 million acres of corn, soy, livestock, and pasture.
Okay.
Do you want to guess how many acres of vegetable production we have?
1,000.
About 7,000 to 10,000.
Okay.
But versus 23 million. We're
okay. That was a bad guess.
We're less than 1% of our agricultural production.
Wow. Okay.
Is in orchard and vegetable production.
Wow.
And so, but it's, you know, we're really seeing this revitalization. We're starting to see more smaller farms pop up, and a lot of vegetable farms are only like 1 to 10 acres, right? And so, you know, I would just say, like, if you haven't bought locally lately, like, find a local farmer. If they are a established white farmer, they're probably selling through a system called CSA. Where you get a thing each week. You can go to farmers market.
Yep.
Out here with a lot of our African farmers, some sell at farmers markets. We're starting to sell at Nubo City Market. We have a couple that sell at the downtown city market. Black Earth Gardens, Mari, which is the field that we're standing in front of. She does sell every other week
at Nubo?
She does Nubo, and then she also does the Cedar Rapids downtown market.
I see her all the time. I didn't know that this was her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And
yes, I see her all the time.
Maybe we'll take a video and walk through some of her stuff.
Funny. Oh, that's so cool.
But a lot of these farmers too, we have an equitable land access website, and we have farmer profiles on there with their contact.
Okay.
And so, you know, sometimes the easiest thing is just to contact that farmer.
Okay.
You know, if you're, excuse me, an individual, and say, hey, can I buy 10 pounds of tomatoes? But also if you're a restaurant or an institution.
Yeah.
Some of these farmers out here, Theo, he had 1,500 pounds of cabbage to sell last week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I have seen crates of 5,000 and 6,000 pounds of eggplant going out in a week.
And are they selling it?
Yes.
They're selling it.
And a lot of times they're selling both locally, but also to Michigan, and especially when we get into culturally relevant, it's going Michigan, Texas, all over the U.S.
Nice.
When they're finding just kind of these niche markets around. But yeah, that's the step 1. Like, find a farmer, reach out, and just see what they have available, whether it's through CSRA or direct buy. And that's the best way you can support them and help their business.
So easy would be go down to Nubo, go down to any of your farmers markets, right? And whether it's Marion, Hiawatha, Cedar Rapids, there's farmers markets all over town every week, or every other week. And would that be like the easiest thing, because you know that they're going to be there, right?
Yes. Yep. Or the co-op too.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want the grocery store experience, the co-op does do. They are the grocery store that does the most local food.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
So.
Well, thank you so much, Emily. This has been so awesome.
Yeah.
Emily, Executive Director with Feed Iowa First, and Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. Thank you for joining us, and we will post all of the contact information in the notes, so scroll down and click those links so that you can make an impact in your local community. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.
All right.